Eric here, product specialist for TOA Electronics, and your host to the podcast Sound Supply, releasing every single week. That's on Monday evenings, giving you guys the most up-to-date information on commercial AV. You can find us on YouTube, Anchor, LinkedIn, and even our Facebook page. Excuse me, guys. Check us out. Thank you for attending. Stay tuned. We're about to get started. Guys, good afternoon and welcome to our special webinar today where we're going to review our 2021 InfoComm show floor for next month. Now, things may change. We may or may not be there. We plan on being there, but please keep this in mind that we're going to be discussing products that are going to be shown at InfoComm and displayed for you guys, whether that be in person or virtually. We will be there no matter what. All right, so today you're going to hear from two product experts. We have Ian in the house and we have Dan Shore in the house. And basically, we're going to be talking about these products and how you guys can use them in your benefit as well as your clients' benefits going forward. So we want to make sure you guys obviously leave here with an understanding of these new products, the key features, the benefits, the pros, and overall general knowledge on how you can utilize these going forward. If you guys don't know who I am, my name's Eric Huber, product specialist here at TOA Electronics. I host Sound Supply every single week. That is our podcast that we air every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and as well as these monthly webinars, that we bring in experts, whether that be internal or external, and we discuss anything related to new products and ways that you guys can use these products in your future installations. And for your clientele. So we're going to hear from those panelists. We'll discuss, and then we'll do a quick Q&A as well. Also, guys, quick reminder, Ian and Dan, maybe not Dan, but definitely Ian. Ian's based out of Florida. He's going to be down there, possibly in person. So make sure you reach out to Ian if you guys are there at InfoComm, that is. Ian is very knowledgeable on many of our products, and it'll be a great opportunity for you guys to meet. All right, so we have 6 key products that we're going to be showing at InfoComm, and whether that, again, be virtually or in person. And we want to make sure you guys understand these. We're going to be adding in a very new product that we haven't really talked about in any of our webinars or podcasts. That's the CS671 speaker. We'll deep dive into that guy. We're also going to be deep diving into that one deeper next month as well. For our next webinar. So it's an exciting new product that we have to offer. So keep that product in mind. A couple other ones we're going to go over are the TS920 series. This is our new conference series. system are, of course, meetingIO series, which is very relative for today's environment. Our A800 mixer amplifier series are digital units that are networkable, where you can remotely get into these units from anywhere in the world. Our IP horn speaker, our new F series box speakers, and of course the CS671 that I just mentioned previously. All right, so let's continue this. This year, one of the main themes that we're going with when it comes to InfoComm and where we're going as a company is the direction of networking and IP. If you guys have access to the Avixa website, great information on there. There's a good quote on there that says, AV experiences start with insightful designs, and InfoComm 2021 is offering a variety of perspectives to enhance your design and integration toolbox. So the focus here is going to be on design and integration with the idea of IP-based systems and where the industry is heading, which will only be a benefit for you guys as well as your clientele going forward. And we'll deep dive into this. And we'll also talk about, or what we always talk about, is the importance of a better AV experience. This is the client experience or the customer experience, the overall UI experience for the end user, as well as the integrator, where it's just much simpler. Getting into these systems is much easier. The list goes on and on. It's all beneficial for everybody involved. All right, so let's start with our first conversation here, and we'll bring in Ian. You guys know Ian. Ian, you want to say hi?
Hey guys,
there's
nice
Ian down
to be here today. Eric, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Ian, let's talk about the broader topic here when it comes to some specific products, maybe the ones I mentioned as we dove in here. When it comes to systems design, what's your point of view on how integrators can create a better experience for the end users? Just like I talked about previously, what questions, and I think questions are a huge driving factor. It just gives you an understanding of what they actually need, what they want. What questions do you ask based on how efficient a solution or system can be and how optimum that system can perform?
It doesn't really matter what type of system we're putting together, whether it's a background music system or a front of house music system or a intercom type of communication system. There's a series of questions that we've got to work through with our integrators. And of course, the integrators have really got to work through with their customer, at the site. There's always a vision that someone's got in mind, and we really have to pay attention to what all those functions and features are. But it's also important from the design standpoint to not always just think about the system design. Sometimes you want to think about just the design that's gone into the particular product. That might even be the physical design, not just the system's menus for setting up operational features. So if you look at our new TS920 series, I know that's something you mentioned we wanted to talk about.
Yep.
The look of that product has changed dramatically from the prior series. The box-looking base is much more pyramid style shaped. So the aesthetic that's going to go along with that sort of a system implementation, it's going to carry a lot of weight. Certainly, we want to make sure the product's going to meet the needs. And if we just go through the feature set of a product like that, I think we're going to feel pretty confident that our product is going to meet the technical and specific needs. But it's also going to provide, a design look. And I do like to talk about the look of some of our products. This new speaker that you're mentioning, whether we even look at our existing F series speakers, they all have a very modern and pleasing design aesthetic to it that makes it a lot easier for us to be able to choose these types of solutions.
Absolutely. And it's exciting that we as a company are moving in that aesthetic direction. Maybe we're not really known for that more as our products are built to last, but that look, that feel, I feel like it is modern, but it's still minimal. It's not over excessive. And I love the direction that we're going in. in that aspect as well. All right,
Yeah,
thanks, Ian.
lines, right? It's all in the lines and
Yes.
pressed metal and how it looks, how it then fits into a room. Because of course, we're going into spaces many times that have just had their own aesthetic look
Sure.
renewed, right? Modernized, cleaned up. And we've got to make sure that we drop into that and can be as minimal as somebody wants, right?
Exactly.
Or throwing something like HX series in, where the variable dispersion line array look of the product is part of the aesthetic someone's looking for from the sound system. So we really do have to try to take a lot of that in mind. And look, that's why we've got things like projector speakers or pendant speakers or flush mount or surface mount and all of the design characteristics that go into that. And then, of course, being able to match up to amplification needs correctly. And we do that very, very well. Our new 800 series provides a fantastic mixer amplifier platform to carry most every speaker product that we make.
Absolutely. All right, Dan, let's get you in here. Dan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thanks.
All right, Dan, you're good at, obviously you're an engineer. You're good at looking at specifications a bit differently than maybe Ian is looking or tackling a design. How does designing to create a better AV experience, maybe using IP-based products, with UI in mind and your expertise in engineering, how do you create a better AV experience with IP-based products and how they actually interact with each other? So I feel like the IP solution is, everything is talking to each other. It's a much simpler solution. But based on that, what do you got?
Well, IP is here and it's here to stay. There are several different methods of transporting audio and video over IP. We have a couple of solutions that rely on our proprietary network packet system, which allows us to be able to send packet audio over LAN and over WAN. So anywhere in the world, as long as you know where the router is, you can get audio there. And again, high quality TOA audio. We've been in the last couple of years producing more and more products that are compatible with SIP, which is how your VoIP telephone system works. So those are going very well. They're very handy for example, in more security applications. We have an IP horn speaker called the IP-A1SC15. We're known for our concise naming.
Yeah.
But that's, for example, a 15-watt horn that's self-powered. It's got digital messaging on board, storage on board. It's OnViv compatible, and the security guys love it. They can hang it right next to a camera and announce or warn people away or announce that there's something going on. That's very, very handy. On the other end, we still use a lot of CobraNet technology. Excuse me. So for example, our 2008 D-2008 mixer provides a tremendous amount of flexibility with 128 combined inputs or outputs spread over a facility. So IP is very important, and it's going to continue to be very, very, very important. Now we're getting video over IP as well. So integrators are having a great time being able to finally get the entire audio and video spectrum and control throughout the network, anywhere they need it on the network, with just one set of wires.
It's crazy. And it just keeps getting better and better. Now whether it be 4K video or high-end audio, it's always improving, which is awesome.
Sure.
All right, Ian, Dan, I appreciate it. Ian, I just did a podcast on the hybrid work model, and maybe you've seen more of this going on. I'm sure you have. We're doing a little bit of that here as well, but where some people are returning to work maybe full time, there are a lot of companies. I've noticed this as a commuter. The trains are still empty, not empty, but they're not as they were. So obviously, a lot of companies have adopted this hybrid type work model, or they're completely remote, whatever that may be. Keeping that in mind, when you're presenting something, when you're out there in the field, you're talking to potential buyers or integrators. How does that influence the way you discuss or present a solution to a potential customer out there? What do you got?
Sorry, I was muted there.
No problem.
I apologize. Certainly, it narrows down the specific TOA product that's probably going to be getting discussed, right? For a small background music system or for a particular meeting room in a dedicated room, these are less likely to be issues. However, it does seem that now when we talk about a meeting space, that there's always some level of, if not an immediate desire, certainly a desire to be ready to be able to add cameras for remote zooming or whatever the codec is going to get used for some sort of a video conference. So when you look at maybe a solution that by itself isn't necessarily always the easiest to design around, and that would be, say, room combining. Right, where you take a large room, break it into smaller room. As soon as you add in a display into that, you're adding in a layer of complexity, because now you need to know if that display is going to be getting used in room A. Is it being shared to room B? Is there mirroring going on of video as there is with audio? And now layer in the fact that you're going to potentially want to have a video conferencing camera that's now getting tied in. And again, you've got to manage that between a room A and a room B configuration. And then take that even one step further. If your sound reinforcement in there is including wireless microphones, how are we then routing the wireless microphones within the single room or the split room or the video conference that's going on? So you can get into a lot of layering of technology. So we've got to be a lot more involved in a broader range of the choices that are being utilized. Doesn't mean that TOA is going to designate what camera gets used or what codec gets used, but we are going to need that information to be able to sit down and put that final design together and look at all the permutations, all the variables that could go into a room. I remember on the integration side, I spent a lot of time really counseling clients on how to simplify the approach, because you really are asking to do some very sophisticated matrixing of how audio and video is being routed in and out of amplifiers and speakers. And taking into account every variable is probably not going to be a great idea, right? But narrow down what are the most likely scenarios of operation so that we can make our product function the easiest. We've got products like our 9000 that have a variety of remote controllers. Could just be a simple volume controller, could have several selection buttons to change the state of that 9000. So we really have to know what we're doing to make that happen. But then I'll also go back to the opposite end of this spectrum, Eric, which is, not being tied in over IP, not being tied into the network. And you've just got a very simple room approach, something that causes some, I don't want to say concern, but some confusion, is that if you've got an IP-based product that you have to program, and that's really not necessarily the case. Take our A800 series. It's a mixer amplifier, and it really works just like our 700 series would, that never had a LAN port being connected to it. You can turn that unit on, do your front end mixing, set your output volume, adjust some simple bass and treble EQ, and get all the power out the back that you might need without having to go into any sort of a menu whatsoever. If you want to get into some sophisticated priority and ducking and additional DSP, well, sure, go ahead, grab your laptop, connect it up to that IP port, and go ahead and hammer away to all the settings that you want. And I like that approach, right? There's a lot of products out there that once they become IP, they become what I would call IP dependent. You have to grab that laptop. You've got to program it. It's nice when you've got a product like an A800 series and can just plug it in and start working with it right off the bat.
Right. Yeah. And the idea there is that it's super powerful. You know, the back end stuff is for the professionals if they want to make the adjustments, but we keep the end user in mind where we just give them what they need. And if it's just volume control, then it's just volume control. You know, as long as they have that easy access and there's no true learning curve, even though it's a very powerful product, but the end user just has to do a few things to get it, to get it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. The end user, the field installer, it can still be a very, very simple application. And then just having that LAN port then connected at the very end for remote access, for troubleshooting, or for tweaking the system, fantastic. But,
exactly.
And that's a TOA thing, right? We've always had a very simple front end to make the product operational quickly, easily, and efficiently, but it's also designed for that longevity factor. And we haven't forgotten about that, right? Our products are known to last into the decades.
Yeah, very true. Very true. All right, Ian, good stuff. Excellent there. And if guys, quick plug real fast here. We just did a podcast on the hybrid solution. I talked about some great points. Check that out. Maybe we'll link it below for you guys or put it in the chat. Definitely check it out. All right, Dan, let's bring you back in. Let's talk about a product that just reached our office, the CS671. And, just on a high level, maybe you can discuss it real quick. We're going to be showing this product at InfoComm. It's a very cool product. It does something additional, to my knowledge at least, that our current horn lineup doesn't really accomplish effectively, should I say, if you want to use something like this. So it's designed for a specific purpose. So Dan, if you just want to touch on this unit, just a little quick tease for our guests here before they reach InfoComm and actually get a hold of it.
Sure. TOA hasn't had a real medium to long throw outdoor weatherproof horn out there. So this is our entry into the market with that. It's an 8-inch coaxial driver and a product that's, I have one here somewhere.
You got one.
It's about yay big, and it flexible mounting, light, and very efficient. So I think we're going to see a lot of these for sports locations,
Yes.
tennis courts, baseball fields, that kind of thing. And rather than just a straight paging horn, these are full range and have a great presence, and you can put music through them. So it's a good addition to our lineup.
Yeah, when it came in here, Kevin Wilkin mentioned he kept calling it a music horn, and right away I thought about outdoor stadiums, high school stadiums, ballparks, intermission where they're playing audio, but they're also doing vocals in terms of commentating the event or whatever. And it could be tied into the main system where security might become a factor, right?
Sure, and music horn is pretty much based on the program material you're putting through it. So if it's not good music, then it's not a music horn.
Absolutely. It's source dependent. Okay, cool. Let's see if anything else I have regarding that unit. But no, we're super excited about the CS671. Very cool product. Sounds fantastic. We actually demoed it here in the office. So we're excited about that. And we're bringing that to you guys at InfoComm. Ian, if you're there, please show it off. Do your best.
I will absolutely be showing that off. Yes.
Excellent.
I may have to wear a suit and tie to make sure I, really MC the event.
Ian, besides, the first thing I thought about was like high school. I was an athlete, and I remember the announcer coming on. He or she sounded fantastic, but once they put music through it, it sounded horrific. And that's where a unit like this would actually shine. But besides a high school or a collegiate type atmosphere, outdoor type stadium, any other use case scenarios where you might see this be implemented?
Well, it's brand new, and I personally yet have had to have my hands on it and really go through it, so I can probably comment a little bit less on that than other folks would. Certainly, I have deployed horns for a variety of type of stadium application. As a matter of fact, exactly what Dan just mentioned, a series of tennis courts, right? You need to get some long reach out there for notifications. Those notifications could simply be, that your time has expired on the court, but it could also be that, there's an emergency notification going on. Certainly down here in South Florida, we get lightning detection systems, and you'll want to be able to run some sort of an alarm through those horns.
Right.
But the point that Dan and that you've made there, or maybe what Kevin was touching on, is that these can be far more musical. They can be really to us, that means it has a much broader frequency response. Rather than that narrow vocal range only, you can then start to get something with that. The source can really be reproduced quite a bit better, while at the same time still maintaining the speech intelligibility that you really need for that long throw horn application. So, if we're starting to be able to bridge across those functions, and listen, we've done this in the past, right? We've had other CS series speaker horns, and we continue to offer those. Our SC series are much more our traditional horns. CS became a speaker horn, and then this new CS series is going to certainly take on a much nicer look, nicer feel, and from the initial specifications I've looked at, should be able to get used in a wide variety of applications. I don't think it's a tremendously powerful model wattage-wise, but maybe Dan can comment on the power ratings of this model, whether or not there are larger models coming down the road with more power. That I don't know. Maybe he's got a glimpse into the future.
I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
And I need to be at InfoComm, so I can't go there.
I don't think we have an NDA signed yet.
I believe this guy, what is it, 60 watts, Dan?
Yeah, the 60 watts.
Which is loud.
Excellent efficiency.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Ian, appreciate it. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. I'm going to ask both of you guys, just a basic question here. And this goes out to anybody that's attending InfoComm that perhaps is struggling with the way we do designs currently and how things are changing and how we can approach them. But Dan, we'll start with you. When you're working with clients, integrators, how do you direct them in the right direction when it comes to dealing with change, with how environments have changed, and kind of what they should be focused on, what questions they should be asking, and what direction they should be heading in, as simple as you can, Dan?
Sure. The most important thing is to understand what they want to achieve and how they want to do it. The easiest way to do that is to have them tell you the story of how it's being utilized, right? So man walks up the switch, man pushes switch, man talks to the story. You're there to tell them that due to the laws of physics, it won't work. Or due to the laws of the pocketbook, it may be extremely expensive, or there may be an alternate way to do it. But the ultimate guide there is how they envision using it, so that when they eventually get the design and have a hands-on, they're already familiar with it and walk away knowing that they got what they paid for.
Excellent. And Ian, over to you.
No, I think Dan has said exactly that. We touched on this earlier in this conversation. We really have got to, get in the skin of that end user. We've got to understand what it is that they're expecting. Budget is many times a factor, not always, but funding is certainly not unlimited, and we've got to know where the costs are expected to be utilized and for what purpose. And we've got to remember that we're handling the audio side of things, that there are still other dimensions to the project, as we mentioned, whether that's displays or cameras or codecs or room combining, whatever those additional aspects to a project might be. We've got to take all those additional factors into consideration. We are handling the audio, but that audio may very well be tied directly to video. We've got to make sure that everything maintains being synchronous. Listen, as Dan well knows, when we start talking about larger venues, an indoor venue or an outdoor venue, we may have to take into consideration things like the speed of sound across distance and what type of delay factors have got to be implemented to keep everything working correctly. So room dimensions, Dan will always come back to me and ask for more drawings. I've sent the guy 30, 40 pages of drawings, and he asks me, are there any other drawings? And there's a reason for that, right? If any view we can get of a space, reflected ceiling from the floor, going on site, grabbing pictures that show ceiling tiles for additional counting. We can see how odd walls are cut, what angles those walls are cut, how high a stage is from the floor. Is it an amphitheater design? There's numerous factors of the physical place that we've got to take into consideration as well. I've thrown some complicated rooms at Dan, and he's been able to come back with sometimes 2, 3, 4 different means of addressing sound in that location. To take all these things into consideration. The last thing that I would throw out there is to try to make sure that customers really, the end user really understands what those limitations are. Dan may say the factor of gravity comes into play, but what does come into play in a lot of rooms is how much echo or reverb, how live that room may be. As great as a system as we could put together, as pure as that sound coming out the speaker might be, if sound absorption material is going to be needed, we may need to make that recommendation as well, because you have to try to deaden down that room when you've got a big square box. So these are the factors sort of outside the line item bill of materials that we'll put together, right? These are all factors that have got to be explored in the field.
Absolutely. Excellent stuff, guys. And just to put my 2 cents in here, just understand that, things have changed, and keep that in mind. Be flexible, ask as many questions as you possibly can, understand what they want. Like Dan said, build a story with your customer. And a good point that I made actually in my podcast was find people within an organization that are succeeding during these times. What are they using? What do they need? What's working for them, and how can they benefit? Learn as much as you possibly can, and just understand that, you're not that person working in that environment, but make sure you understand how they're working, what's not working, what's working, what have they been utilizing during this time, and how we can improve that, or how we can make them more efficient and just do a better job, make their job easier, right? At the end of the day, that's really all that matters. All right. Guys, remember, Ian will definitely be there, virtually or in person.
Dan, I'm not definitely be there. Yes.
Dan, I'm not sure about, who knows, but we'll be there either way. We'll be there either way, whether it be Ian, somebody else. TOA will be there. at InfoComm this year. So we're excited to see everybody. We're excited to release these new products and get your minds going. And we're excited, obviously, to be working with you guys in the future. All right, so there's a VIP code, a registration VIP code that we're going to list here somewhere on the screen or in the chat or in the comments. And also our booth number as well. I don't have, Ian, do you have our booth number or negative?
I have not, I don't have anything here in front of me. I know it's
all
been
good.
sent.
We'll list it in the chat. Not a problem. Yeah, let's get into questions, guys. Shoot at us. Let's go. Okie doke. I see the chat is going crazy right now. Crazy. But thanks again, Ian and Dan. I appreciate it. Well said, guys. Well said. I'm just going to scroll through the chat here to make sure. Hey, did you guys, I know Ian and Dan, you guys are checking out the chat there. Anything that stood out, perhaps, that somebody might have asked that I...
No, InfoComm and Ed Wolf, who's our rep, wanted to know expected inventory for that music horn speaker.
Gotcha. Okay, guys, by the way, InfoComm booth number 6055, that was scrolling on the bottom of the screen there that Ian and I did miss unintentionally. And then also the VIP code is TOA 480. So when you guys sign up, make sure you have that code here. We got a question in from Dave. Dave, how you doing? Good to see you.
100 volt as well.
I missed the product that he was referring to. What product was that?
Dan, I think he's talking about the new horn, the new CS. The question is it 70 volt only? I believe it's 70 volt and 100 volt.
Yeah, 70 and 100.
70 and 100.
For our purposes,
no 8 ohm bypass.
That's a good question. Stand by.
You got one?
Yeah, I'm going to disappear.
All right, go ahead. No problem. While Dan is checking, I'm just scrolling through here. If anybody else has any questions, please let us know. Once again, InfoComm coming up. Ian will be there in spirit or physically. We don't know yet, but he will be down there.
I think we're still pretty hopeful that we'll be there live, which will be nice.
Yeah, we'll be good.
Could just be myself. Could be myself, maybe with Jonathan. We do have a 20-foot booth. It's not a very large booth, but I think we'll have a lot of nice gear in there. Enough room to socially distance and answer any questions that folks have got.
Dave, that's an 8 ohm bypass on that as well.
Oh, there is an 8 ohm bypass. Fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. Dan, which one you got there? The black one or the white one?
Black one.
Yeah, the black one. Okay. Black and white, guys. Black and white. Dave, you're very, very welcome. Ian, going back to, the stuff that we're kind of coming out with, what we're showing, the direction that we're going in, the vision, the new TOA vision, especially aesthetically, and on the networking side of things. I love it. Your thoughts on where we're kind of going with our design, our product design, not our design team. And how we're really connecting our products and thinking ahead, and like you stated in our webinar here, understanding everything that's around us, because there's so much going on now, and having that connectivity or that future connectivity if something else were to be integrated. So yeah, any thoughts you have on that?
Yeah, there's no doubt that newer products with this network connectivity and the ability to tie them in to each other with added communication, added DSP, added setup utilities. What you see in the menu structure of our LENUBIO to what you see on the A800. I'm still very involved with 9000 series designs, and that's an application you would run and load up via RS-232. But again, the same standard of utility that we've got, and of course, so many of our amplifiers really shine where we get into things like priority overrides and ducking. So all that utility remains in place. But on the aesthetic side, Eric, you're right. This new horn has got a very, very nice design look. The HX7s and HX5 have got a great design look. On our conferencing microphones, the new TS series, the 900 series, 920, I believe it is. beautiful pyramid-shaped bases, clean buttons tied into the front panel. All the IR sensors are done really cleanly. It's a very, very elegant looking conference microphone system. And there's a lot of utility in that product. That's something we don't talk enough about. We should probably have a webinar about it at some point. But we provide the voting software to be run off of that unit. So you can just download that software utility, tie that into the 920 series conferencing mics, and add extra level of utility. Overall, I think things are really looking nice.
Yeah. Take a look at our conference series, guys. That when we released that series, that's where my eyes opened up, and I was like, okay, we got something going on here, aesthetically and obviously functionally as well. Look at our Lenubio. Simplicity, simple. It fits in anywhere. People recognize it. Our new 800D series, very simple, clean, front-facing, but it's very powerful in the back end. And for the end user, we make it simple, and for the integrator, we give you everything you guys need to do to make it as good as you can. Guys, check out the chat there. Shona just sent us the TOA VIP code, and what that does, it gives you a free hall pass for you or a friend. You can use that link there to register up, and we'll get you in. VIP access to see Ian. Okay, guys, anything else? I think we covered a lot here. Hopefully, we gave you guys as much as you need. You can always reach out to any one of us, any three of us. We got Jim here in the office. We have Andy here in the office. Any questions you guys have, we have a great sales team, obviously. We do want to get as much information back as you guys from possible. This is how we make these shows. This is how we design our products. This is how we do everything going forward. It's based on the feedback that we get. So please, if you have any questions, definitely let us know. Anything else from Dan or Ian before we conclude here?
Just looking forward to seeing folks at InfoComm, and obviously the phone lines are open, so give a call anytime if any questions come up.
Beautiful. Dan, all set?
All set.
All right, man. All right, guys, thanks again. Quick plug, podcast every single Monday, 8 o'clock Eastern or 8:30 Eastern, somewhere around there. We didn't have one this Monday. We have one coming up this Monday. All of our socials, and then webinar second to last Wednesday of every single month, based on your feedback. So again, we'll see you guys at InfoComm. For those of you going, Ian will be there and a special guest. And we'll see you guys soon. Take care, and thanks for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.